Welcome in to another Happy Friday here on the Discussion Combustion Happy Friday YouTube channel. I'm super excited. I just got back from being in the dirty South with them Baton Rouge boys celebrating this year's 2024 Mardi Gras. So much fun, but I am honored to be here with somebody that I appreciate so much. That is Kevin, the Big Drip Frame Finder.
Quite the introduction. Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. And happy birthday to my mom, Vicky Batstone. Today is her birthday, so I know she's going to be watching this first thing in the morning. Happy birthday, Mom. Believe that our folks share a birthday.
Yeah, my papa's birthday is also today, too. So happy birthday, Dad. Happy birthday, Vicky. Everybody knows that was the fricashinas that brought us in, and we're excited for a Happy Friday. How are we going to start this one off, Kev?
As always, we got today in history, man. Looks like you got some good stuff in here, kicking it off there at 1861 with Abraham Lincoln stops his train at Westfield on his way to Washington to thank 11-year-old Grace Bedell in person for her advice to grow a beard and gain more votes.
Yeah.
And that's I mean,
the power of the beard.
Look,
okay, like
we
seriously,
talked about it.
This is the power of the beard.
We did, we talked about it when December beard, January, and then a little bit of February fresh. We got into the beard game a little bit, or at least I did. So that's a pretty cool piece of history.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Lincoln actually won presidency due to facial hair. I mean, like that could be a thing.
Look, we all know it's a popularity contest. It could very well be.
Absolutely. Moving forward, we love aviation. 1914, the first airplane takes off and successfully lands. It goes from LA to San Francisco in 1914. So that's a pretty big deal.
Come a long way in the aviation industry, of course, since going airborne to then actually having people get on the plane and take it elsewhere. I mean, it's incredible. Think about how much air travel has happened now in the last 100 years.
Yeah, and then people all complain when you have a 30-minute delay, like with your bags. Like, do you know how good we have it right now?
Yeah, that's true.
What's up with that?
I'll take it every time.
And so I got really excited this week.
Nuke news?
Nuke news.
I think that's what you should start calling it.
Well, if we could find it.
Yeah.
So Nuke news this week. I got 5 different bombshells. We got the U.S., we got China, we got France, we got USSR, so a lot's going on here. So in 1960, the United States did a nuclear submarine, a nuclear submarine from the United States, the USS Triton, set off on an underworld round trip. I believe that was one of the first nuclear-powered submarines that had done one of these excursions like that. So that was definitely interesting. Moving to China, which I think this is their first time making the nuke news list. So 1961, China uses its first nuclear reactor. So, bringing them onto the stage of being a world power and also that deterrence. We have France that is on here. So France performs underground nuclear test, and that was in 1966. And then I got 2 from USSR. So in 1977, they perform a nuclear test at the Sary Shagan. And then 1979, they do one, and we've had this one on here before, the same site, the Eastern Kazakh, Semipalitinsk. I don't know if I'm probably saying that wrong.
I'll give you a B+ on that one.
I got to be butchering that.
Yeah, but you just say it like you think you know it, and then that works.
I didn't say it fast enough. That was the problem.
Yeah, that was the problem. That's the key to it all. But what I really like is you put a little bit of NASCAR trivia in here.
Oh, there's a bonus. We got a bonus
history
from 1986.
Yep, that's right. The 28th Daytona 500. Of course, it's the Great American Race Weekend. Super stoked for that. Good old Geoff Bodine, who brought the first win for Hendrick Motorsports. Oh, by the way, he wins on fuel mileage after Dale Earnhardt Sr. was forced to pit with about 3 laps to go.
And you knew all about this, didn't you?
Well, I mean, I know a lot of NASCAR history, of course.
Did you know this one already?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. But Geoff Bodine's first win for Hendrick Motorsports actually came at Martinsville Speedway, but this was still a big win for old Geoffrey Bodine.
Yeah, and then Dale Earnhardt blows his engine when leaving pit road after almost running out of fuel. So that was kind of like a slap in the face to their pit crew not timing it out right.
It took him 20 years, Dale Earnhardt Sr., to win a Daytona 500, and Kyle Busch is going to be trying for his 20th attempt this Sunday. So some fun history there, man. I always like today in history.
Yep, that's today in history. Now, you have some New Hampshire news coming up next. What is it, Kev?
Yeah, so back over to my home state of the 603, which I still have that area code. I've had it for, since I've lived in Colorado and beyond. It's like 20 years I've had a 603. My state likes to do things a little different. I mean, we say it's the state, live free or die. Great motto, great people. But we do, we're old school up there. So everybody knows the town of Concord, New Hampshire.
Yeah, Concord.
Yeah, which is the capital of New Hampshire.
Okay.
A lot of people think it's Manchester. It's actually Concord.
Okay.
And some people say it a few different ways. Like, we're very particular about how we say our towns.
Well, it looks like
cities.
it's spelled here as Concord. That's how it looks like it's spelled.
And there is a Concord, North Carolina, and that's actually NASCAR headquarters as well. But they pronounce it Concord. Up in New Hampshire, we always say Concord. So Representative Eric Gallagher has made a motion to put in front of the House in New Hampshire a bill that will basically declare the official pronunciation of Concord as Concord.
Concord.
So but
the spelling stays the same.
Spelling stays the same, but you're going to pronounce it like you conquered a battle or you conquered something. And then of course when you put the New England accent on there, you drop the it becomes Concord.
Concord,
so,
New Hampshire.
I mean, just typical New Hampshire news. They're doing some fun stuff like that. I hope it passes. Honestly, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, how do you what happens if I go out there and I'm like, oh, Concord, this is such a beautiful city.
Yeah, I mean,
then what? Am I going to get like a $50 ticket?
No, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think you can enforce something like that.
So, but if it's a lawmaker, it's a bill. Can't you enforce bills?
Well, so laws? Basically, all you're doing is you're saying that the official pronunciation is Concord and not Concord.
Mm-hmm. So, what would be another place? Instead of Des Moines, Iowa, it's Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Yeah. Las Cruces, New Mexico.
La Cruces.
Yeah. There's a few.
So it's just one of those things where it's if you really want to sound like you know where you're talking about, you got to put some accent on it.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is with just New England in general, there's so many cities around there like Worcester. We pronounce it Worcester, but when you look at the sign, it looks like it says Worcester. Gloucester. There's just all these towns and cities around New England that people think are said one way, but the locals actually pronounce them a very different way. And it's just kind of the way it goes around there.
Yeah, that's one thing that is interesting about the United States is that we have all these different regions, different cultures, and different ways of the tongue, right? Like even down south, some of them down south boys were talking, and I would have a hard time understanding their English.
The Cajun dialect's totally different.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
That's good stuff.
So moving on, and I love that. I hope that passes as well.
Let's go to New Hampshire.
Let's conquer that. Let's conquer that law, okay? And look, everyone's flying. We talked a little bit about aviation already. What would be like the worst thing for you personally to experience on a flight? Like if you're like, if this happens on the flight.
I've been through a lot of stuff on flights. I've had people throw up. I've had the lavatories be out of service. I've had the air mask drop down. I've flown a lot. I've seen some things, but I think the worst thing that I saw was recently there was part of the plane flew off. Like it was completely, someone was sitting there and it was just wide open to the world. Now, granted, they were at about 8,000 feet in elevation, so it wasn't quite enough to like suck your eyeballs out or have a major pressure change. But there's a video, pretty viral video of it, just pieces of the plane flying off. Yeah. Right by the emergency exit.
Yeah, that would be super scary.
I wouldn't like that.
That's probably the worst case scenario, or the plane actually crashing.
Well, that would be the worst.
But beyond those, I do have a funny story of a Delta flight that had to get rerouted because somebody did not package their perishables correctly. That's what we'll say.
Okay.
So this flight was going from Amsterdam to Detroit. It was a 9-hour flight.
It's a long flight.
Yeah, 9 hours on the flight, and then 1 hour in, they had to stop and turn this thing around and go fly back to Amsterdam. And the reason being is one of the passengers was getting showered in maggots coming from the luggage compartment. Maggots are falling out, right?
Wow.
So what in the hell? Why is there maggots falling out? So when they go to do the inspection, they find an improperly packed carry-on bag that was containing rotten fish wrapped in not toilet paper, in newspaper.
Wow.
And so the aircraft had to turn around. This is kind of part of the quote. Everyone's reaction to the bag being opened were immediate pinching of noses. Oh. So it just reeked in there. So what's up with that?
I mean, a couple things here. First of all, there's a huge problem when you come into customs when you bring food.
Yeah, how to get through
stuff like that. So I'm not really sure how that worked. The fact that it even cleared that part, unless they didn't do customs until they got to Detroit, but that's typically not how it works.
Yeah.
So second of all, why would you be bringing rotten fish anywhere on your travels? I mean, to the point where it's developed maggots. This wasn't just a piece of fish that's a few hours old.
Yeah, because I know that is like a type of delicacy. It's like a type of rotted fish.
Right.
But it's not being eaten by maggots.
The maggots is a problem, and it's probably because it was contained in a high temperature, and it just the larvae they breed on that. So really, what this came down to, it was a health and safety concern.
It was,
and that's why they had to turn the plane around. You can't have maggots and rotting fish exposed to all these passengers. It's just not safe.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of particulates go into the air with that?
Not good.
I
wouldn't want to be on that
especially
plane.
After they like. I wonder if they opened it up while they were on the plane.
Probably.
And then it just reeked out the entire cabin afterwards.
Can you imagine being in a fuselage full of rotten fish?
Ugh.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, look. Sensory adaptation is going to kick in after a bit of time.
It will.
You're going to get used to that foul stench in the air, but
That's rough. That fish is a rough one.
yeah, and then you get turned around. Like travel is like, look, flying is great. We can see the world quickly.
It's great,
but it's still a pain in the ass. You're traveling all day, and then you
love
get
it.
turned around, and then you have to go sit there, and then you have to add another day. So I can see how that'd be a big pain in the ass.
I wouldn't be thrilled with that adventure, but I do love flying.
Yeah, so Amsterdam.
More bad than, or more good than
I would
bad.
say on this, coming from America to Amsterdam, y'all need to step up your airport security and baggage check claim service section.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and of course, Amsterdam used to, transport a lot of marijuana in and out of that vicinity. So now that happens everywhere. Now that it's legal here in the States.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that one, Art. On to one of my favorite segments of the week. That's Kev's Random Records. Wasn't really a lot I found this week. David Rush wasn't in there.
Okay.
Like it was a kind of quiet record week, but there was one that stood out. So after further review, Guinness Book decided to go ahead and hand the record, because at first they said, nope, you don't have it.
Okay.
Due to some discrepancies among the rules. So what the record is the world's tallest matchstick sculpture. Okay. A sculpture built entirely out of matchsticks. Just unbelievable. 23.6 feet high. Think about that. I mean, that's a beast.
Tall.
It took 8 years to build.
Was that like, that's over 2 stories? Right?
It's, I mean, 10 feet is a story. So, yeah, about two and a third stories. Pretty big. So it was a replica of the Eiffel Tower. It took 706,900 matchsticks exactly to build this thing, and 8 years of precision. Because you got to think there's probably
8 years.
Yeah, it took some time, man. Spent 8 years building this sucker.
Wow.
To get it, and it was basically constructed and erected in a big warehouse.
Yeah.
Because you have to have space to be able to move around.
But then you got to rent the warehouse. Like, this sounds like an expensive passion project.
Pretty serious, man. I mean, to think about it, you put 8 years into it. I mean, we've been doing podcasts for 5 years. That's another 3 years on top of it. This guy was building
just on one sculpture.
And Guinness almost said, "Nah, you don't have it." But then they went back and took another look and said, okay, after further review, and it came out of the matchsticks themselves. There were specific specifications for the matchsticks that were allowed to be used.
Oh, how much of a pain in the ass would that be? You use just a little bit of the wrong matchstick for it.
And they're like, nope, it didn't count. But it did count, so he's now in the record book. Pretty incredible stuff, man. That is Richard Ploud is his name.
Yeah, Richard Ploud, congratulations on your diligence and patience building this sculpture, and
Pretty
also
incredible.
renting out the warehouse. And then what do you do with this thing after it's constructed? You just take pictures, you get your record, and then you burn it? Because honestly, I think it would be cool to watch that thing burn.
It would be kind of cool, but man, 8 years just gone up in smoke like that in a matter of minutes.
That's life.
That is life. I don't know. I think it should be in like a museum, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, to transport it.
I don't know how you would transport it.
You must have to put resin glue everywhere. Or when you built it, was it really built with the best quality?
I don't think you can move it.
I don't think it's. I think it's immovable. I think it has to burn.
That's like, you ever try to lift a puzzle off the table after you've built it, and you're carefully trying to move it, and then it just crumbles.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
That's a tough one. Yeah, life is full of things like that, and life is also full of decisions that we have to make. So we're bringing it in to the Would You Rather segment for this week on Happy Friday, America.
So, recapping last week's Would You Rather, as you know, everybody can go over to our Twitter X page, that is at HappyFryUSA. Participate in those polls every Friday morning, or just leave us a comment right down below here on YouTube. So last week we asked the viewers if they would rather be rich but have no friends, or be poor and have meaningful family and friends around them. 100% went with poor, taking the friends.
Really?
Made me pretty happy. We didn't have a lot of voter participation last week. But the fact remains, the results are in. 100% went with the poor.
I think that's a Happy Friday first.
We've had a couple 100%.
Where was the slide? What was one of the other ones?
I think it was the.
I don't know.
We'd have to go back. We've done a lot of these. But anyway, so yeah, that's good. That gives me a little bit of faith in humanity. That they're like, man, I'd rather just have the friends and family. So that's last week's results.
Because then you're all super rich. Either way, we talked about that last week. Thank you for everyone for participating in the Would You Rather. This week's Would You Rather is focused on if you were going on to a reality TV show. So if you had to pick between going on either a dating reality TV show like Love is Blind or 90 Days, something like that, or going into one of the real world 90s MTV shows where you're living in a house with a bunch of random people in a random city. So you had to pick. Either you're going on the dating show or you're going on the real world. Which one are you going to pick?
Remind me after the show, I got something to tell you about that Love is Blind. I'm selling their wine, which is pretty cool, the Netflix official.
Okay.
Pretty cool stuff. But
Okay.
just fun fact, and you just remind me of that. In this situation, it's really easy for me. I don't do online dating. I don't do dating shows. I don't do any of that stuff. I think all that's fake garbage. I'm taking the 90s real life.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, because like for me, that's when like reality TV really started. Back when it was enjoyable, it was before cell phones, it was before a lot of technology. They would put these random people in a house. They did Real World Denver. You know, they've done a few of them.
Yeah, but then you got cameras in your bed at night.
Yeah,
they're like really on top of you.
It's a little invasive, but honestly, I think it's a lot more real than these dating things because you're capturing kind of like what we do here, real unscripted experiences. And so for me personally, I'm taking the 90s real world for sure.
Okay. Any specific city you would like that to have taken place in?
I mean, because I live in Denver, I would do, I guess, Real World Denver Part 2 because they've already done one.
Okay. All right. I see that. So thinking about it, like I'm like thinking about what's the benefits, right? So if you're doing the dating one, then the cameras get to go away. Like you get to shut that door eventually. You get to sleep in your own bed.
Kind of. A lot of them
get to
still
do
show
some of these things.
Being intimate and stuff.
Well, yeah, but you could kick the cameras out.
I guess.
But they got like wall-mounted cameras in the real world house. I don't know, man. I think I would probably, out of these two, I would probably choose going on the dating one over the real world one because I feel like I'm going to be able to detach a little bit more. And then show the world how you should be approaching these dating scenarios, and talking to people.
I still don't agree entirely that you have as much privacy as you would versus a real world because any of these ones I've seen, it shows them in bed at night, it shows them rolling out of bed in the morning. Those cameras are still around. I feel like they're still going to be, and you sign a clause like, I'm agreeing to be filmed at all hours of the day.
Yeah, but I do see them shutting the doors too. Like, okay, I've had enough. I'm shutting this door. But,
well, yeah, I mean, the film crew's got to get rest.
Well, yeah, they got to get out of there at some point, but there's not CCTV cameras posted up all around the building catching everything.
I mean, if
I don't know. I feel like you have a little more privacy with the 90, like the dating ones. I don't know. I don't know. Is that the deal breaker? What do you think out there? Are you picking being on a dating show, or would you rather be on the real world type scenario with living with strangers?
That's right. Let us know what you think. Comments below, or we're at Twitter X at HappyFryUSA. Be curious to see the feedback from the viewers on that one.
That was fun.
Yeah, I like the Would You Rather segment. All right, so keeping it on our war and nuke news and all the fun things that we like to talk about here, a little bit more history here. We had something similar to this a couple weeks ago, one washed up in Los Angeles, but this wasn't a wash up. This was found deep underneath the dirt down in Florida, a World War II era bomb that was found. This thing was massive, Art. So basically they were getting ready to construct a university, and they were extending construction into some areas, right? They're digging and they go, man, what is that? And they uncover it. I mean, you scroll down and take a look at the link. I mean, this thing was massive. This bomb. So of course, first thing they have to do is call in a bomb squad, make sure the thing is inert, which it was, and so that's a good sign. But it's just crazy, man, that how much shit from World War II and beyond.
Well, in Florida,
it's in Florida, man.
Like in Florida, man. But here's the thing: is like, there wasn't a lot happening on the United States East Coast during World War II. Sure, the maritime traffic was at risk from the U-boat attacks and things of that nature. But to find ordnance, like, was that ordnance United States ordnance? It was?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say exactly how, where, and why it ended up in that area. But it was just in the Tampa area, just outside of Tampa. So you're talking, the western side of the state of Florida where this thing was found. But it's pretty cool to always see, this shit turning up.
So it does say here that back in the day, the 9th Bombardment Group used the airport for training on B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators. So
it was a train.
Yeah.
They utilized it just like the one that washed up in L.A. It came from some sort of training. I mean, it's still ready for war, the equipment that they're using to get these guys ready. But, I mean, we're talking 60, 75, 80 years later, this thing's found on a construction site.
Yeah, and do they randomly, like, just go off? Or do they, like, defuse, like, the parts that make it active to blow up? Do those, like, wear out? Or, like,
yeah, I don't know enough about the science and the dynamics and the nuts and bolts that go into it. But, of course, when they called in the bomb squad, they labeled it inert, so it was just completely inactive.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how much, like, even just here in Colorado, like how many like unexploded ordnance are just sitting around. Like, we're fortunate that, you know, we don't have all these minefields that were laid out
Right.
and different things like that in these other countries. Like in Ukraine, the amount of mines that have been laid there since 2022, like forever, they're going to have to be building those up.
Yeah.
Or like digging those up.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit underneath that's still buried, you know? So kind of a fun article I found.
No, I really like that one a lot. All that's really interesting.
Yep.
Moving on to positive news that I was able to find, and this one I found on Reddit, so definitely check that out. First child cured of a rare brain tumor. This offers real hope. So this was done by a French doctor. It was a Belgian boy, and he was the first boy or person that was cured of this brain glioma, I believe that's pronounced. It's AKA diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, AKA DIPG. And it was through like a new drug called everolimus.
Okay.
I think that's how that's pronounced.
A lot of medical jargon there.
There is. But so a new drug, and what was going on with this is it was helping to target these biological particulates within the tumor. And over a 10 to 15 year period is generally what this could take. They found that through MRI scans that the tumor completely disappeared over a long time, though. So it could take 10 to 15 years. It's a specific type of brain tumor, and it's with this new drug that works in specific cases. Obviously, with any sort of things, the human body has so many varieties and things like that. It probably won't work on everybody for the exact same thing, but it's still exciting to see.
Yeah.
That you know, they're able to help people and decrease this tumor that is taking lives.
I mean, it's anytime that we can have breakthrough and innovations in the medical industry, you know, modern medicine can do a lot of great things. I have more faith in modern medicine from other parts around the world than I do here in America and the FDA and all that kind of stuff for obvious reasons, you know. But if they can find cures and stuff like that and start to, you know, keep the ball moving, especially with something like this. I mean, brain tumors, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, even surgery is usually the last result, and then they're like, there's nothing else we can do. So the fact that they're having some breakthrough results on this, I think, is a sign of hope for, you know, what could come in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just do this quick thing here, like we always do. And look, we're not doctors. We just give opinions here on Happy Friday America with some of this stuff. I would like to know what's causing these brain tumors in the first place. So then we're not doing the reactive work. We're actually doing the preventative work.
Sure.
And in my personal opinion, I'm going to trust my own preventative actions more than doctors because of the over-prescribing of pharmaceuticals in this country. So that's just a quick side note from me on that one.
Yeah, I think that's a good PSA, and I think it's just important to also note that everyone should make the best decision for themselves and what they feel is best for their personal medical needs. You know, don't go off our opinion, don't go off the mainstream media. Do your research and figure out what you feel is best for you. But great article, Art.
Yeah, whatever you feel is best is probably the right thing because your perception is your reality, and it makes a huge impact what our thoughts are.
Certainly.
So all I know is back in the day, there were a lot of fun thoughts about, well, I don't know, fun thoughts. I was trying to do a good segue here, but it completely got butchered. Either way, they're bringing Twister back, and they had a drop on the Super Bowl commercial breaks releasing this.
Yeah, so here's what's interesting about this whole thing is, are they bringing Twisters back? Is it a reboot? Is it a remake? It's neither. It's its own movie.
Okay.
So what's interesting about it, as we're starting to see the cast, and we've heard some interviews with the director, is it's not going to directly correlate to Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt's characters from 1996.
Okay.
Great movie, by the way. One of my favorites. As growing up a
Seen
weather
it a
nerd,
bunch of times.
it's so good.
I mean, they're like throwing these balls, like getting the balls in there.
Yeah,
So that was cool.
Dorothy.
Yeah, is that real? Did they really do stuff like
Absolutely.
that in
yeah.
real life?
That's how they would get those things up there to monitor, you know, what's going on. We're still trying to figure out what goes on inside a tornado. And the whole purpose of the first movie, we haven't seen this one yet, so I don't know the entire plot, was to increase warnings of tornadoes. Right now, we're looking at about a 10 to 15-minute warning because they're so hard to predict. You don't know when that severe thunderstorm is going to cause that rotation to come down. So for a weather nerd like me, Twisters was fantastic growing up, or Twisters coming out this summer, I'm really excited to see. And so kind of what we learned is it's not going to pick up from where they left off. It's not going to be, Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt's kids carrying on the legacy. It's its own story.
And it's not going to be like crazy, like Shark Tornado or something stupid like that, right?
No, it's legit. It's going to be, storm chasers, weather nerds like me out there trying to do some innovation in the weather world. Now, the director did say there might be a couple of lines dropped in there that were from the original.
Easter egg lines.
Some Easter egg lines.
Like some nods, some callbacks.
Some callbacks. I was kind of hoping there would be maybe a cameo appearance, but you got to think, Bill Paxton's dead. Philip Seymour Hoffman's dead. Helen Hunt could make a cameo, but it's not happening, confirmed by the director. So completely different cast, completely different storyline. Looking forward to Twisters.
I mean, look, it's one of those things that is forever exciting. We don't fully understand. It's kind of like the oceans. Like it has this mystery, this intrigue, and that's why mystery is so important. It keeps us coming back. Like, what's going on with that?
Sure.
How does it work? How can we predict it? So I think that's cool. This one's worth it. I like that they're branching off and not really doing like a sequel. I mean, the amount of remakes that we've seen in our lifetime from movies when we were young, and like people just remaking things because they run out of ideas. This kind of falls into line with that, but at the same time, you can't go wrong with weather stuff.
It's fun, man. It's hard to believe it's been almost 30 years since Twister came out.
That is crazy.
And it's still one of my favorite movies to watch to this day. There's so many great one-liners in there. We got cows. Another cow. No, that's the same cow.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of fun. So I'm sure we're going to see some Easter eggs, as you alluded to, in this film, probably similar to that.
Yeah, epic stuff. I love it. Great find there. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. You had a party. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was great. The Super Bowl was good. It started off slow. Obviously, everyone saw Kansas City won in overtime. What a game. Really, it was an incredible game for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I won some money.
Oh, so that made it even better.
Yep, I took the bet on how many times they were going to show Taylor Swift. Won that bet.
How many times?
So it was an over/under bet.
Okay. It was over 10.
It was over 10.
Okay.
Yep, it was, and I took the over.
Okay, obviously they're going to show her.
But when it got to 10, they weren't showing her, and I was like, it's rigged. It's rigged. They weren't showing her for it just kept nothing was happening. Then I was like, yes, they showed her. I was like, I won the bet.
So at one point you were actually rooting to see Taylor on the TV.
I was.
I wouldn't believe that.
Because I wanted to win the bet.
That's funny.
But yeah, and obviously thoughts and prayers, of course, with Kansas City. What terrible shooting that happened on Wednesday out there when everyone was just trying to enjoy the Super Bowl parade and be there to watch their team. Unfortunately, we have some scumbags in this country that just shouldn't own firearms, and it's a terrible situation out there. So thoughts with Kansas City for sure.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Yeah. Let's keep it tight.
Let's keep it tight. So moving on to this week in art, we got a lot of fun things going on.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, one of the greatest bands. Dude, look,
I've never seen them.
They're all in such great shape too. Like you'd think these guys are still in their 20s with how their bodies are looking. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're playing in Lincoln, California, and that's tomorrow and Saturday, Sunday. Go check it out.
They've been on my list of bands to see for a long time, man. There's like a couple more I got to see, and they're one of them. I love bluegrass, of course. If you're down there in Palacatta, Florida, they got the Palacatta Bluegrass Festival going on, which is the same festival that comes through Telluride here in Colorado in the summertime. Fun stuff, great bands. The Del McCurry band's going to be there, which you and I saw here in Colorado.
They were epic.
Great bands.
They're epic.
Go check out some good bluegrass.
Yep. And sticking with the music theme here, we also got Tool playing in Las Vegas on Sunday. Now, anybody who loves rock and roll, and you know who Tool is, it's like one of those bands you got to see once in your life. I would love to see Tool play. Unfortunately, I won't be making it out there this Sunday to Las Vegas. But if you're in Daytona Beach, Florida, Kevin got something for you.
It's the Great American Race, guys. It's one of the greatest times if you're a race fan. We have the Daytona 500. I'm keeping a close eye on the weather. Not looking great right now. It's looking like it's probably going to be a washout, which we've had the previous Daytona 500s get moved to Monday. I hate to say it. I hope, Florida weather's tough to predict.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we can get a window to get this race in. It's just, it's the Great American Race, man. This is a big deal. This is the only race where you get the title champion after you're a Daytona 500 champion.
It's weird how they do the championship though, so early.
So
right?
Yes and no. Ryan Blaney's our defending season champion. He won the NASCAR Cup championship.
Okay, so this is champion of this race. And then you have a season champion.
Correct.
Okay.
So we start our season off with our biggest event. Football ends it with their biggest event. So Daytona 500, I'm hoping for some good weather. Joey Logano is on the pole. That was confirmed earlier. And then the duels, of course, determine the rest of the lineup. So it's an all-Ford front row for really the first time in a long time in Daytona. But winning the pole at Daytona does not mean much. It's only happened 9 times that the pole winner has won the race.
Interesting. Hey, if you want to get into racing and if you like anything petrol related, then you got to check out Mash the Gas podcast, which is a sister show that we have hosted by my friend Kevin Batstone and also Jeff Davis out of Texas. NASCAR season's back out, so you guys got to check it out. And this is how we give it up for Friday, baby.
Yeah, thanks for that plug there, Art. Mash the Gas back in full throttle. Of course, Monday night recapping everything going on in the racing world. Possibly Tuesday. If it gets moved, we'll see. But, man, it's a happy Friday. I'm ready to kick the weekend off.
Let's go.
Weather's going to be good here in Denver, Colorado, so I'm excited about that. A little snowy today, a couple snow showers and flurries. I don't think it's going to be too bad, and then we're right back into the 50s. So looking forward to that. And, of course, guys, as always, we appreciate your continued support here at Happy Friday Discussion Combustion Podcast YouTube channel. Be sure to mash that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's going to be at Happy Friday USA. Twitter X, as we talk about, where the polls go up, promo clips, fun things. That's at Happy Fry USA over there at Twitter X. And if you have a segment idea, want to get in touch, just give us some shit. Give us some shit, guys. That's happyfridayamerica@gmail.com. We're going to get out of here. Fricashinas are going to rip tater chip. Enjoy your weekend, America.